The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals participating in the show. All persons described or mentioned in the podcast should be considered innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. This podcast contains subject matter such as violence and graphic descriptions along with adult language, which may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Have you ever stolen something? What is the reason behind theft? Is it the money? Some steal for the thrill. Some steal for who the fuck knows why. And tonight, we're going to cover the 3 of the craziest thefts you've ever heard of in your entire life. You're listening to the Mysterious Brews podcast, and tonight we bring you the case of, why the fuck would you steal that?
Well, you hear news stories all the time about people stealing things from stores, but this theft story is pretty unique.
A group of thieves in Alabama managed to steal an entire 200-foot AM radio tower. What?
Yeah.
So this was initially noticed by landscapers who went to clean up the site only to find that tower missing. The thieves also stole every piece of equipment from the small transmitter building at that site.
This really hurts a small operation like this, but like I say, I believe we're going to find out who did this. It's a federal crime, and it absolutely will not be worth it to them.
Welcome to a deep, dark, dank, moist basement somewhere in the bowels of Georgia. Well, Coach, one thing we can say about our fans is they care about us, because not only did Miss Raymond from Arkansas reach out to tell me that the Postal Service finally delivered the first set of decals I sent like 3 months ago, so she got a double dip. She reached out after the tragedy yesterday in eastern Georgia to make sure that we were okay. And she was like, I hope you fuckers answer pretty soon because we're worried.
Yeah, that was awfully nice of her to check on us, but a very, very tragic incident, and we don't need to get into any particulars of it, but just to let our listeners know that it is nowhere near us. It's about an hour east of Atlanta. Arlo, you're what?
I have to go an hour east of that twice a year, and so I'm an hour and 45 minutes from there, so I'm a good hour and 20 minutes from where it happened.
I don't know how far I am from there, but I do know that I'm an hour and a half north of Atlanta.
Yeah,
I'm near Chattanooga, Tennessee.
I was going to say, he's actually 30 to 45 minutes away from Chattanooga, so
yeah.
I teach out of my house, so I'm okay, but yeah. And then her response when I said we're fine and explained where we taught, she said, well, I thought I remembered hearing you say you taught online and he taught somewhere else, but the Hubs and I wanted to make sure you and Slapnuts was okay.
What? Did she use those words?
You and Slapnuts were good.
Wow. Man, I worked very hard on this podcast to make it entertaining, and I can't even get...
I get no respect here. I get no respect.
A heartfelt check-in.
Oh, there was a heartfelt check-in. She was just happy that.
Still get called Slapnuts.
And guess what? I bet she's sitting there saying,
"Surprise, motherfucker!"
So yeah, I do love it. I do love it. She did say about the decal. She just out a week ago. She was like, "Guess what I got the other day?" And I was like, "A 2,000-acre duck lease." And she was like, "Oh my God, my husband would be in heaven if we got that." She goes, "It's the first decals." And I was like, damn it. Well,
what do you need with 2,000 acres, man?
It's kind of like $2 million. It's better than $1 million.
Okay. I accept that answer. That's a good point.
In the words of my broski, from my mother broski, actual brother, because I can have it. That's his answer for damn near everything. So with that said, our.
Hold on, let me tell you something. This school's back in session for me. I know everybody's been in since August, but it just started back this week. And I have told you on the podcast many times that my dog is a fucking heathen, but I didn't realize until this week that he is an actual factual demon from hell that I still love and will cuddle tonight and give him many treats because I'm a jackass. But this thing has eaten my couch. And when I'm like, he just chewed on a little bit of the couch. No, he ate it. The couch is almost bare skin and bones, just a frame and some springs, because I'm gone a long time and I don't want to crate him because that's just mean. But apparently he's got some separation anxiety. I even drugged the poor fucker. I gave him some trazodone that was left over from when he got his nuts cut off, and apparently he's still resentful.
Obviously. There you go.
He knows.
Yeah. Don't you mention my nuts, boy.
He ate my couch and my flip-flops. So what the hell am I going to take to jiu-jitsu? If there's one thing I hate, I love spending money. I will spend money on everything. My girl, as many vinyl records as a human being can have. But there's one thing I can't stand. Is spending money on something I had. I had flip-flops. I don't want to spend money on flip-flops. I had a couch. I don't want to spend money on a damn couch. I hate replacing shit. Drives me insane.
Rant over.
I'm just saying, you're not even listening. You don't even have any feedback from me.
No. Don't think that I ain't ever been there, brother. I have had labs, and y'all know if you've ever had a lab, they will eat damn near anything. And I've got a Weimaraner wire hair bird dog mix, and he ate everything he could get his hands on when we first brought him in. So yeah, he is one of those. They make indestructible bones. Yeah, they never met my dog. He destroys them. We buy
I'm like the term long lasting of anything involved with a dog. My dog's like, man, fuck that.
Yeah. Mine's like, hold my beer. This will be gone in a month.
I bought not a month. I bought him these long lasting treats. They were like, they last a long time. I gave him one in the kitchen and he runs to the living room. By the time I got to the living room, it was gone.
Yeah. I'm with you. Because we bought ours some kind of collagen stick, supposed to be good for their joints because he's only got 3 legs. Yeah, it's supposed to last like hours. He's done in like 15 minutes. Okay, so you can leave comments on each episode if you did not know that on Spotify. We had one from Omega Blue. Said I would give 10 out of 5 stars if I could. Keep up the good work, guys. Y'all deserve more than 1 billion downloads. And then Mustard Center sent a comment on the Giant of Kandahar and said, hey, fellas, good start on the Giant theories. If you want to keep going, try looking up Solomon Island giants. I'm just a U.S. expat living in Australia who grew up adventuring in Nebraska and Oregon. Just let me know if you want to come down here to accompany an excursion for some big game reconnaissance at Down Under Bowman. Hey, let me explain something to you. Don't you threaten us with a good time. I may have to drug Coach to get him on the plane that flies that far, but we'll get there.
Oh, you would definitely have to drug me.
I know. That's why I said that. Duh.
I'm agreeing with you.
All right, that's enough of the bills. We got a 5-star? We got 5 stars? We got 5 stars?
We do.
Holy shit.
Yeah, man.
They love us out there in Paul.
We got at least one. Let me double check, make sure we ain't got another one.
Oh, while you're doing that, we were number 25 in Hungary last week.
All right, I got you right here, bro. From a JDeaves, August 29th. Long-time listener, first-time reviewer. I came across this podcast when I was looking for the story of Jelani Brinson. I had about 5 podcasts in my arsenal that I rotated between, but once I found these guys, I've been binging. They're the best. My family and I recently had a cross-country road trip, and my husband, who only listens to sports radio, was even hooked and would request to listen to it. He is from South Mississippi and says listening to Arlo and Coach reminds him of being back home with the boys, drinking cold ones and cutting up around the bonfire. We really enjoy the banter and the roasting of one another, but also appreciate the storytelling and the research that goes along with it. Keep up the great work. You guys are killing it. Boom, shakalaka.
That's what I'm talking about.
Everybody talks about your research. Good research.
It's all good as research.
It's always, well, I turn in for the research. What about me?
Slap nuts over here that needs some loving.
Yeah, what about me?
Well, don't be selling yourself short. You found love through the podcast, brother.
That's true. I know. I just really like attention.
He's an attention whore, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So we did take a week off because he's back at the salt mines and it's damn near killing him. And also we had the old holiday weekend.
Like I said to you right before we started recording, going from going to bed at 5 a.m. to waking up at 5 a.m. is very difficult.
Yeah, it'll put a cramp in your lifestyle.
It sure will. And again, I'm sorry if you hear crunching in the background. He does not mess with these damn toys till I start recording.
He just eats furniture and flip-flops.
Yeah, when I'm gone.
All right, ladies and gents, we're getting into some unusual thefts. We did a little mysterious disappearance last week, so we got to lighten it up. So unusual thefts, and this is first one is a listener request from when we were like, we're done. Inject bleach in our brains. Our friend Luma Joe from the great state of Texas.
And this one's crazy. This was so, like, I think we can answer pretty quickly who. Not exactly the name, but the type of person that did it. But the why and the how are going to be the how for sure is going to be difficult.
So we're talking about the old Jasper, Alabama radio tower theft. You heard me right. A whole radio tower. Now, radio station WJLX in Jasper, Alabama, reported that their tower and transmitter were stolen, and it was discovered by a landscaping crew that the station had hired to keep up the landscape around said tower building. When the crew arrived, they found the station manager explaining to him, Mr. George, that the tower was missing. Station manager was interviewed by the news, and he appeared surprised. Quote, I've been in the radio business or around it for 26 years. I can say I've never heard of anything like this, end quote. Now, WJLX AM went on air in 1957. It's a 1 kilowatt non-directional station on 1240 AM and has a translator on 101.5 FM. They have a 950 mega. What is that? There's a spider trying to get my face.
What?
I know. I about died right here on air. They have a 950 megahertz STL shot across town from their studio to the transmitter site on the other edge of town. Jasper's not very big, so it's about a mile and a half, I think. According to their special temporary authority that they filed with the FCC, the station went silent on February 2nd, 2024. Thieves, or as we like to say in the South, meth heads, usually see metal, and in their minds, they see their next fix. So a radio station in southeastern Oklahoma was completely shut down because thieves stole copper from their broadcast tower. The owner says the thieves cut the cables of the 488-foot tower, and after it fell, they cut it up to get the copper. So that's not what's going on here in old Jasper, Alabama. Everything looked pretty straightforward, even though it was a strange case of theft. What we do see on the interwebs, on the Twitter and the Reddit, is there are rumors circulating around town and amongst other radio engineers in the area that claim the station had actually been off air for a while before the reported theft.
Well, it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
they didn't steal the copper.
they just stole
They
the tower.
stole the entire thing, 200-foot tall tower. How?
That's a damn good question. Now, cue a young man named William Collier. He was like, hold on, let's investigate. So Mr. Collier took a little trip to the site with a friend of his and recorded a walkthrough video, and the video tells a very different story than what we were told to begin with. In the video is a transmitter site that has not been maintained for a long time. Power meters have been removed. There are muddy. That's a combination of muddy and dirty. Muddy. There are muddy, dirty floors, a door hanging off the hinges, weeds growing up through fencing, and a lot of debris. It appears that the site where the tower was at had been abandoned for quite some time. On radiodiscussions.com, the user Spunker88 did some Google Street View detective work, and it shows that there's two towers, one for WJLX and the other belonging to another nearby station in October of 2022. Then he goes back to old Google Street View in March of 2023, and you only see the other station's tower. So when you look for information on this theft, you find a YouTube video about WJLX from 11 years ago on the channel Monster FM. In the video, it shows a person in their car listening to the FM station and flipping back to the AM station. You can hear the station, and then it goes straight to static. The video, because when the video starts, it's showing the man's radio, and he shows him jump from AM to FM, both station identifications. Then he pans his phone up, and you can see the radio tower and the building that it was attached to. Basically, sitting on top of the tower, you should not have had your station go to static, but it did. And that was 11 years ago. Now, in an interview with Radio World, the station manager claims that the power was on all the way up until the alleged tower was stolen. He provided power bills to the police when they came to take the report. And an oddity, if you watch the interview, you notice that the station manager is wearing a shirt boasting the name of only the FM frequency. On their website, it only states the FM frequency. On their Facebook page, it only states the FM frequency. Now, the station isn't off the air right now because they were able to lease a HD channel on another radio station and had the FCC change the translator to adjust the feed. Now, for AM stations, there was a point where you could apply for a translator for an AM station and they would be given an FM frequency. They would have to have the AM station on while the FM translator is on, because you can't just run the FM site.
Is it a translator?
That's what they called it. Translator, because you're basically what you're translating
the frequencies.
Right. An AM frequency to an FM frequency.
I get you.
Now,
I'm with you.
At the end of the day, this is all very interesting about translators and frequencies and stuff like that, but you would expect, since it is an AM station with a translator to the FM dial, the station manager wouldn't just have paraphernalia boasting the FM. However, that is it. But we may never know what exactly happened, but fingers are a-pointing in Jasper, Alabama.
Let me tell you, it was crackhead. 100%.
I was going to say, it's got to be a crackhead or a meth head.
But the real mystery is, there's no mystery the type of person that did it. Maybe we don't know exactly. But the how they did it is way more important than who, and even more important than how they did it is how did they do it when no one saw them? No one reported this.
You would think failing a 200-foot tower.
Like, did they do it from the top to down? Did they?
If they did, I want video of that.
Away?
If they did from top to bottom, I want a video of that, because you had to be high to get that
Well, explain it to me. I mean, explain how they did
Well,
it.
shit, I don't know. Look, you're asking like I go scrap metal hunting at the graveyard every night.
You can't topple a freaking 200-foot tower. You like knock it over and drag it away with your pickup truck.
I bet they did. I bet they had that thing hanging off the cab of the truck like a canoe.
I mean, maybe.
It was like jousting.
like the damn Griswold Christmas tree.
That's right.
It's on the roof of a fucking
Station wagon.
And they're just like, Billy, we're gonna get a lot of money for this, and
we headed to the scrap metal yard.
Like, yeah.
There I was eating peanut butter.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I said, "Don't look, Ethel. It's too late." All right, our next one on the rest of these are pretty short because there's not a whole lot out there on it. The next one is the Great Nutella and Kinder Chocolate Egg Heist. Yep, you heard me right.
Let me tell you, I love Ferrero Rochers.
Oh, I do too.
They got Nutella in them, and that I'm telling you, just give me a box of those and
diabetic coma. Give
me a box of those and a chick flick, and I'll just be in heaven.
So in August of 2017, thieves in the town of Neustadt, Germany, stole a refrigerated truck filled with up to 20 tons of Nutella and Kinder chocolate eggs. The chocolatey goodness that was stolen had an estimated worth of around $80,000, leading law enforcement in Germany to warn their citizens, and I quote, anyone offered large quantities of chocolate via unconventional channels should report it to the police immediately, end quote.
Yeah. How do you hawk stolen chocolate?
Hey man, what you doing? You want some chocolate?
You at the schoolyard, be like, hey bro, man, you look like you need a fix, bro. Like, yeah. Come on.
I got some Nutella. I got some chocolate eggs.
High quality chocolate eggs, bro. What's the black market value?
I have no idea. That's the thing.
It's already cheap as shit.
There had to be a value or a market for it because it was stolen.
That's what I'm saying. You're not going to steal something that there's not a market for. Maybe they stole it for personal consumption. That's still a market.
Now, that is sage advice from the German police and probably some advice you need to follow. But the mystery doesn't end there. Just a week later, on the same weekend in the town of Wittenberg, Germany, a separate trailer filled with 30 tons of fruit juice was stolen.
Well, maybe they're making some bootleg liquor or something. They're going to make some chocolate wine.
Maybe it was an organized crime ring. Maybe it was an astonishing coincidence. Or maybe Danny Ocean pulled off the sweetest heist of his career.
Oh, my God. How long did it take you to come up with that? How long? I want to know.
I had actually watched the movie before I did my notes.
Oh, come on. That is a ball of cheese right there. But, I mean, it's all right. It made me laugh.
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters. I don't care if it made anybody else laugh. But
all right. So the next one.
What made me laugh a few episodes ago, I said, I said, you know what I did? And you go, I don't give a shit. When I listened back to it, I laughed so damn hard. I was like, man, that was so mean, but
it was all about timing.
It's all about the fun. It's all about the comedy.
That's right. So the next one is up there with a whole radio tower. In 2008, in the village of Komarovo, Russia, an entire church was stolen. Like the whole thing.
What?
Yes. However,
what?
It was abandoned at the time, and the whole village decided, you know what? We're going to get us a side hustle, and we're going to sell the house of worship to a businessman to the tune of 1 ruble, and that equates to 4 cents in the U.S., per brick.
What? How do you get a whole church and not be seen either?
One brick at a time. How do you make a 59, 56?
Yeah, that's true. I got a 42, 53, 45, 59 automobile.
One part at a time. All right, so now, it does not appear that the plan was to rebuild this entire church at a new location. Although that would have made for a much more, I guess, crazy story, but instead, it seems like the bricks were used to build other things around Komarovo. Now, the 200-year-old building, which no longer had its icons and other religious valuables, was a school for disabled children during the Soviet era before it was closed down in 1998 and turned over to the church. And by religious valuables and icons, we're talking about Christian statues, stained glass, all of that good stuff. All of that was gone. So there was really nothing valuable left in it except for the actual structure. Now, Orthodox priest Vitaly of the Ivanovo-Voskresneskaya diocese says officials last saw the 2-story Church of Resurrection intact in late July of 2008. Sometime in October of the year 2008 is when the people decided, man, we're going to make us some drinking money. Fast forward to 2016 in Wisconsin, and we have, for those of you not living in the United States, Wisconsin is the cheese capital of the U.S., and it found itself the victim of a cheesy crime wave. We're talking about the great Wisconsin cheese heist of 2016. Over the span of a few months, cheese bandits managed to steal more than $160,000 worth of cheese in several bold, outlandish heists. The sheer magnitude and audacity of these crimes left the community both shocked and amused. The first theft occurred in early January of 2016 when a truck carrying 20,000 pounds of cheese was stolen near Germantown, Wisconsin. The cheese in question was a variety of the state's beloved cheddar, valued at approximately $90,000. The truck was later found abandoned in Milwaukee, but the cheese, it gone. Likely sold on the black market or smuggled out of the state. Not long after that, another brazen theft took place in Marshfield, Wisconsin. Yet another truck containing $70,000 worth of cheese was hijacked. This time, it was a blend of different cheeses, including mozzarella, Parmesan, and Swiss.
Those are good cheeses.
Once again, the empty truck was recovered, but the thieves and the cheese were nowhere to be found.
There's definitely a market for cheese, man.
Oh, yeah. Now, the third truck was a $90,000 heist that was completely composed of Parmesan. Now, these thefts tapped into a long-standing tradition of cheese production in Wisconsin, a state that produces more than 2.5 billion pounds of cheese annually. As stories of the heist spread, the community rallied together, driven by a blend of outrage and a surprising amount of humor. Police departments issued statements urging vigilance, and local cheese producers increased security measures, all the while underlining the importance of protecting their cheesy goodness. Investigators suggested the involvement of a sophisticated ring given the logistical challenges of storing and transporting such large quantities of cheese without attracting attentions. Theories flourished, ranging from organized crime diversifying their portfolios to opportunistic local thieves with a deep knowledge of the dairy industry.
Oh, wow.
Though the stolen cheese was never recovered, the incidences brought to light the often overlooked vulnerabilities of our food supply chain. Even in a seemingly secure industry like cheese production, festivals and events celebrating Wisconsin cheese even played up the heist with cheese-themed theater performances and tongue-in-cheek tributes to the, quote, cheese bandits. While 2016 will be remembered for many things, the great cheese heist of Wisconsin holds a special and somewhat entertaining place in the history of the state that is that is fiercely proud of their cheese heritage. This series of capers cemented the importance of cheese in Wisconsin's identity while also serving as a humorous reminder that even the most beloved products are not immune to thievery. All right, so this next one has been kept hush-hush, and there's nothing out there. I tried just about every kind of Google variant that I could find. But this was in 2005. It was the Black Truffle Heist. $100,000 worth of black truffles were stolen from a warehouse in Provence, France.
Yeah, there's definitely money in that. Like, truffles are expensive. So if you steal some, you can definitely resell it to restaurants.
Now, this was a very sophisticated operation, and not just because the target was an ingredient that can be found in Michelin-starred restaurants. These crooks traveled to said storage facility by rooftop. They used rope ladders and night vision goggles to get into the warehouse and access the refrigerator where the truffles were kept. France has kept this one hush-hush, but there is an entire book titled The Truffle Underground, a tale of mystery, mayhem, and manipulation in the shadowy market of the world's most expensive fungus, by Ryan Jacobs.
I thought that world's most expensive fungus was what grows on your toes, buddy. Well,
I was trying to keep that on the DL, but thanks for outing me. All right, the next one is a little bit more in depth just because this character in this one, I don't know, I'll let you make your own decisions. Anyway, it is the Philadelphia Insectarium and Butterfly Pavilion heist. In August of 2018, more than $40,000 worth of insects and lizards were taken from the Philadelphia Insectarium and Butterfly Pavilion. It's estimated that 7,000 animals were taken in the robbery, including, but not limited to, warty glow spot roaches, tarantulas. I looked it up. It's an actual thing. A warty glow spot roach. Bunch of them was taken. Tarantulas and leopard geckos. Now, these were most definitely resold on the black market. Now, when police arrived at the scene, electric blue staff uniforms were found hanging from a wall, held in place by knives. This rather strange piece of evidence signaled to police that the theft may have been an inside job. Museum CEO John Cambridge blames the heist on former disgruntled employees, citing the uniforms and surveillance footage. The former employees in question were questioned by the police, and they were like, it's not a heist. And they tell WHYY News that they brought their own pets into the pavilion, which included snakes, insects, and other creatures, to basically make the museum's exhibits better. After they quit their job, they went and got their pets and left. Now, Mr. Cambridge calls this, quote, ludicrous. And now the museum's recent financial troubles and internal strife have come to a head, fueling further problems, including lawsuits and the rumor of bankruptcy. Now, Mr. Cambridge said some of the animals that went missing belonged to former employees, but, quote, the vast majority of the creatures that were taken were unambiguously the museum's, end quote. He said the former employees are, quote, trying to throw up a little bit of smoke with a handful of creatures, end quote. Now, according to a 2018 Philadelphia Inquirer story, the 7,000 number is somewhat misleading. Many were insects that the museum was raising to feed the other stars of the insectarium. Cambridge said at the time that their loss was still a big blow to the museum's operations. After the theft, Cambridge called the police, who sent armed officers to question Allison Mumper and some other employees at their homes, including Anthony Mangiola, a teenage intern who was still in high school at the time. Mangiola said officers first questioned him at home without his parents present, and then later he was questioned at the police station for around 3 hours. He never listened to our podcast because he would have known lawyer.
Yeah. I know that's the only word I know when it comes to cops.
That's right. Now,
Lawyer.
he says, quote, I remember following everything that happened for about 6 months, and any time someone would come to the door unannounced and knock, my body would seize up. I would just stop. If anyone rang the doorbell unannounced, I would just stop. Now, neither Mumper Tomasetto nor Mangione have been charged with any crimes. A Philadelphia police detective in charge of the case said earlier in 2018 that the case remains open. Actually, I misspoke there. It was actually in 2023 it was still open. Here's what's funny. There is a documentary series on IMDb TV that aired this spring in 2024 that has put this whole case into the spotlight. It is a 4-part series called Bug Out. And it is presented, or actually it presents the argument from Cambridge's former employees that they merely took their own insects back before they quit. Cambridge, represented by his Faja, who is a lawyer and also a member of the museum's board, has now sued the filmmakers and some of the interviewees, including Mumper Tomasetto and Reznicki, for defamation. The museum's financial trouble continued after the creatures went missing. In 2018, the museum became a nonprofit to, quote, allow avoidance of taxes the corporation was in no position to pay, end quote. As Cambridge explained in a lawsuit against one of the interviewees of the documentary and former director of operations, it appears that this whole shit show was an inside job, according to Cambridge. If you're interested, there's a whole lot of articles out there about how he took daddy's money to make the insectarium, and he is hell to work for. All right, moving along in our grand crazy ass. The next one is the Great Beehive Heist of January of 2017.
What?
Yes, sir.
You only sent me 3, like the first 3.
You're full of shit. You are so full of shit. I'm gonna scroll back. I'm gonna take a picture of it, send it to you.
Well, regardless whether you didn't send them to me
or I didn't read it,
or I didn't read it, that's neither here nor there. The point is, this is a surprise to me. How you gonna steal beehives? You gonna get stung?
Yeah, in January of 2017, hundreds of hives were stolen from a beekeeper just north of Sacramento, California.
You sure he didn't hide them and just file them on his insurance?
No, because this area is abound with a plethora of almond trees that need to be pollinated, and anyone with a whole bunch of bees can charge top dollar for pollination services. Max Nikolaichuk owns 71 million bees and tends to them in the rolling hills east of Fresno, California. Each bee is worth a fraction of a cent, but together they make up a very lucrative business. Old Max makes most of his money during the almond pollination season, renting out the bees to California's almond orchards. Literally billions of bees are needed to pollinate the almond crop. Not enough native bees live in California year-round to do so. They are actually trucked in from across the country as far away as Montana, Colorado, and Arizona. In January, around $1 million worth of stolen bees were found in a field in Fresno County. Sergeant Arlie Terrence with the Fresno County Sheriff's Department says it was a, quote, beehive chop shop. There were so many different beehives and bee boxes owned by so many different victims. All of these stolen bee boxes that were recovered were not from Fresno County, end quote. The bees were stolen from across California, but they belong to beekeepers around the country. A few thousand bee boxes disappear every year, but this beehive heist was different. Quote, this is the biggest bee theft investigation that we have had, Terrence said. He goes on to state, most of the time, beehive thieves turn out to be someone within the bee community. Eventually, this case led police to a suspect named Pavel Tevratinov, who was in the possession of 2,500 allegedly stolen hives taken from throughout the area, worth at an estimated, they estimated 2,500 was estimated at $875,000. Mr. Pavel was a beekeeper from Sacramento who used the stolen bees for pollination and then stashed them on a plot of land in Fresno County. He was arrested and could face around 10 years in jail time. Authorities say he didn't act alone. His alleged accomplice, one Vitaly Yeroshenko, has been charged and a warrant is out for his arrest. Steve Godlin with the California State Beekeepers Association says the problem of hive theft gets worse every year. Quote, there used to be a kind of code of honor that you didn't mess with another man's bees.
Definitely shouldn't.
No, you shouldn't.
You don't touch another man's fries.
And you sure as hell don't mess with another man's hive. Now, the alleged perpetrators of this giant hive theft broke that code. Quote, he went way, way over the line, Godlin says. It's just, heartbreaking when you go out and your bees are gone, end quote. Godlin has had hives stolen in the past. He and many other beekeepers make their income not just from renting out hives, but also from selling the honey the bees produce. So when the bees are stolen, beekeepers lose out on both sources of income. Godlin says it takes time to develop a new hive by introducing a new queen and developing honey. Quote, bees, we have been hit by everything from vandals to bears to thieves, but the vandalism and thieving are the worst. The one that hurts the most, end quote. He says his organization will pay a reward of up to $10,000 for tips leading to the prosecution of bee thieves, but that only relieves some of the sting. I got nothing. I get nothing from that. I got a Danny Ocean and you cheesed me. I get nothing from the sting. The last one on our list is the Great Beanie Baby Heist.
Oh, no.
Yep, in 1990.
That went from being so valuable to worthless. I saw a thing that was like, the picture was covered up and it was don't click unless you want to see the saddest picture of the 90s. And I was like, of course I do. And it was a divorcing couple, dividing up their Beanie Baby collection in court, in the courtroom floor, bro.
Good God. So in 1997, one of the great Beanie Baby thieveries occurred. The colorful stuffed animals were the subject of countless robberies over the years as people began believing rumors that they could pay off their student loans by selling them on the secondhand market. 77-year-old Ben Perry of Glendale Heights, Illinois, thought he had struck plush gold until he was caught with 1,247 beanies that were thought to be part of a lot of 60,000 Beanie Babies that went missing from the manufacturer Tye's warehouse. This haul was estimated at approximately $300,000. Perry, a retired self-employed salesman, told police he did not know the items were stolen and that he bought them at a flea market in Chicago. On May 30th, 1997, he was arrested in Carroll Stream. His arrest prompted headlines nationwide, and his friendly character and apparent love for the limelight made him seem like a hero rather than the accused thief that he was, according to the prosecution. He had gotten his hands on Garcia the teddy bear, Bubbles the fish, and Digger and Radar, according to the prosecution testimony during the trial. The 4 styles that we just mentioned were extremely valuable because the makers of the product had announced a few weeks earlier that they had been discontinued. Now, the legal affairs director, Sharon Salzman of Tye Incorporated, maker of the Beanie Babies, stated, quote, each season we introduce new designs and discontinue some old ones. The value of the old ones go up between $100 and $1,000, end quote. The retail value of current styles at the time of the heist was roughly $4.99 per stuffed animal. After announcing in April that it was retiring those 4 styles, the company discovered during a routine inventory check that thousands of pieces were missing from its Westmont warehouse, and it launched an investigation. After receiving a tip that Beanie Babies were being sold at a produce market in Roselle, Illinois, Thai Incorporated officials hired investigators. The investigators placed the market under surveillance and discovered Perry and others unloading boxes of the stuffed animals on May 30th. The fruit market owners were not charged. On the same day, investigators followed Perry to a storage locker he rented in Carroll Stream, Illinois, where they saw him unload at least 2 boxes with the Thai logo into his car. Carroll Stream police and the private investigators questioned Perry, and Perry let them inspect the entire storage locker, where they found some of the toys. Meanwhile, a check of his car turned up hundreds of more of the little stuffed animals, all in plastic bags. Quote, I asked him where he got them, and he wouldn't answer at first, Skip Drish, president of Central Bureau Investigations, said. Police also found $3,000 on Perry, which they also confiscated. Perry was unable to provide police with receipts or any other records proving he had bought them. So authorities took the stuffed animals and Perry's cash and arrested him. Under questioning by defense attorney Kathleen Zellner, Carroll Stream Police Detective Ken George, one of the arresting officers, said the locker contained 5 full boxes of Beanie Babies and 7 others that were empty. Quote, just looking at the boxes, you wouldn't know if they were stolen, would you? Zellner asked. The detective said, no, I would not. So when Perry went to court, he asked for a bench trial. Very smart on his part. And the judge found him not guilty because there was no proof that he knowingly possessed stolen property. And for his part, he claimed he bought them all at the flea market. So to this day, no one knows who stole all of those Beanie Babies. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to crazy-ass unusual thefts. If you have some unusual thefts, please let us know. We'll do another one of these episodes.
I mean, it's pretty lighthearted, but I mean, nobody getting killed, but still, that's pretty crazy stuff.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Well, Coach, you got any recommendations?
Man, I've been so damn busy this week, I ain't got shit.
How about not buy a dog and leave him in your house to eat your shit?
Yeah, when you want to buy an old dog, don't buy a puppy.
Yeah, that's some good sage advice right there. Well, my recommendation is going to actually be the movie Twisters, the sequel to Twister.
I saw that, man. It's good.
It is very
good.
It is very good. I was quite impressed. So if you enjoyed the first one, ladies and gents, check out the second one. Ladies, I'm sorry, but the guy from Top Gun does not get naked.
I know. I was very disappointed.
Well, Coach, you got anything out there, any more sage advice for everybody out there?
You know I don't.
Deuces.